always excited about some books, but the ones I wanted to tell you about today were two that we're publishing next month. And I work for the Allen Lane Imprint, which publishes a lot of serious non-fiction of all sorts of ideas, but which can be history or politics, and in particular I tend to do quite a lot of economics books or science books. And these ones, the ones I wanted to mention here are, we've got finished copies, The Eerie Silence by Paul Davies, and The Big Short by Michael Lewis, which are two fantastic books. And The Eerie Silence, to talk about it first, it's a kind of very good example of the kind of book that we do, and it's also a very interesting book, I think, at the moment because of the way we've been able to publish it and because of the opportunity. And Paul, he's an author we've published here for many years now, and I've worked on his last couple of books. And he is an amazing cosmologist, he's an amazing writer, but an astrobiologist and a physicist. And this book, which is about, it's subtitled Are We Alone in the Universe? And it's about our search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And this year is the 50th anniversary of SETI, which was Frank Drake first taking a radio telescope and trying to listen for alien life. The reason why this is just such an interesting subject, to tell you, I guess, in as short a time as I possibly can, Paul starts the book with a quote from Arthur C. Clarke, which is, he says, sometimes I think we're alone in the universe, and sometimes I think that we're not. But in either case, the idea is really quite staggering. And that's what Paul shows in this book. You know, if you spend time thinking about this, because if we're looking for intelligent life in the universe, you end up having to think about, well, what it would have taken for our life to originate in the first place, so you can figure out what are the chances of it happening again somewhere else. So it is, as he says, a kind of search for ourselves. It's an amazing thing to think about. And leads to all sorts of interesting things, like including looking for other forms of non-carbon-based life form on Earth. But the other interesting aspect of this, as well as being the kind of expert scientist, Paul is also involved in SETI himself now, to the point where he's the chairman, and if ET does phone us, the call will get put through to him. So in that sense, it also allows him to think about all the other aspects of, if this kind of thing happened, you know, which we see in movies, what would society do, how would we react, what are the consequences, what are the kinds of things that you have to think about. So it's an amazing book in terms of thinking about all these things. And in terms of publishing it, the reason why it's exciting is that Paul's coming over to promote. He lives in Arizona now, and he's already been over once to talk with the Royal Society, giving one of the sort of talks launching their anniversary year. But he's coming back to do events. He's doing them in Bristol, in London, in Glasgow, Cambridge and Oxford. And he's going to do all sorts of broadcast media, and our publicity team here love working with him because he's got such a great sort of following. And so there's all sorts of different ways that he can reach people like that. But during his talk in Manchester, the additional thing that we're doing that's more eerie than normal is we've been running a competition through the Penguin website and through with lots of other partnerships because various other organisations want to be involved with it, to ask members of the public what they would ask of some other intelligent life form should they have the opportunity. And we're going to broadcast those messages during his talk into space to see if we get a call. The chances are quite low because, as the title of his book, The Eerie Silence, would suggest, we're not expecting a call, but you never know. We've got to try. So in this 75th anniversary year, it's not just paperbacks, not just hardbacks. We are publishing into space. That's why we're excited. And the other book, which I should mention because it's a kind of traffic stopping event in a different kind of way, as I said, is Michael Lewis, The Big Short. He's the guy who wrote the bestseller Liar's Poker, and he 20 years ago described what went on in Wall Street and the city, and what he thought he did was write a kind of expose of the terrible things everyone got up to. But because he wrote it so entertainingly and explained all this sort of stuff with such kind of vision, everyone read it as a kind of how-to guide. You know, he really showed up. So now, after the most recent financial crisis, he's come to settle accounts, and this is a very, very vivid picture of what's just gone on, but I think it really will